Hey guys, this is my first video in the channel, in my new YouTube channel, Modern Populist. The reason I'm creating this channel here is because I firmly believe that every voice that is added to the American dialogue, to the political dialogue, as long as that voice is in search of truth, as long as that voice is, when I speak truth, I mean objective truth, truth in the real world. And as long as that voice is in search of objective truth and trying to share the objective truth and suss out the objective truth, then I think that voice matters. No matter who it is, no matter who it comes from, no matter where it comes from, objective truth injected into the conversation can only make things better. Even if that objective truth is sometimes hard to realize, it hurts to hear, um, it still helps. An example would be a patient. He believes he has cancer, right? But he's too scared to go to the doctor, and he has all the signs of cancer. He knows that he could probably have cancer, but he avoids going to the doctor because he knows that once that doctor gives him the diagnosis, that's final. He can't hide from it anymore. It becomes a reality. But as long as he hides from that reality, then it never hits him in the face. And I believe that we are experiencing kind of the same metaphor in American politics today. That we have people that hide from the truth or obscure the truth because they use it and wield it for political gain. And this channel is to combat that, to cut through the bullcrap, to bring the objective truth to light. The first thing I want to talk about is Biden's executive order he utilized to destroy the Keystone Pipeline. And for those that don't know, the Keystone Pipeline is a pipeline that comes from Canada down through the US to certain processing plants, processing and holding and storage tanks. And he destroyed the pipeline because one of the reasons he gave was for the adverse environmental causes that could result from that pipeline, from the Keystone Pipeline. It's like, first of all, these companies, when they built the pipeline, they would not build the pipeline and then just shoot oil through it all day, every day, 24/7, and never check for leaks, ever. Because that's just bad business. Every single barrel of oil, every single gallon of oil that leaks from that pipeline and goes into the ground is money lost for the company. And on top of that money lost from the company, when that leak is discovered, it has to be reported to the government. And then the government has to come in, they have to check that leak, they have to assess how far deep it has seeped into the ground, and then the company has to remove all that dirt. They have to remove every single bit of that oil that's leaked into the earth, and they have to replace the dirt, and they also have to pay a fine if it exceeds a certain amount of barrels leaked into the earth, into the soil. So these companies, they have an incentive. They have an incentive to watch the pipeline to make sure that these leaks do not occur. And if these leaks do occur, which they inevitably will, they have an incentive to fix these leaks. And they have the technology to do it. I worked in the oil field for three or so years, a while back. Good experience. I learned a lot. But the oil field is a hotbed for new technologies because these companies, they're trying to maximize their profits like no one else. They're trying to find new technology to maximize profits. They're trying to work faster, better, and stronger to maximize their profits. And some of these technologies they use that I saw, some of these technologies they use to check these pipelines range from people just walking the pipeline, visually checking, to dogs, to drones. Some of these drones are equipped with certain cameras that can see the gases that emit from these leaks. So they can see these leaks even underground where normal people can't see them. And these dogs are highly trained, they can smell these leaks. So these companies, they have a financial incentive to keep these pipelines running and running well. And if there's a leak, they close it. But Biden still, he destroyed the pipeline, and as a result, killing thousands of American jobs, thousands of Canadian jobs. But one thing I wanted to talk about was this deal that is being brokered between the Turkmenistan government and the Taliban for a trans-Afghanistan pipeline to bring Turkmen gas across Afghanistan and Pakistan to India. Um, so what this essentially is going to do is this pipeline that is being brokered by the U.S. government is going to put millions of dollars into the pockets of the Taliban. We spent how many years, how many lives, how many American lives, how many American taxpayer dollars did we spend fighting the Taliban? And now we're helping them build a pipeline across Afghanistan to enrich the Taliban, to enrich Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. I'm sure every company that has this pipeline running across their soil is going to receive a portion of those profits. But those countries aside, we're giving money to the Taliban. We're helping them build a pipeline when we destroy the pipeline here in the U.S. If pipelines are so bad, then why are we building a pipeline to help the Taliban? It makes no sense at all. And the government right now is being run by a bunch of people that I for words I can't use on YouTube, but they're scamming us. They don't have the American people in mind. They run for government for money and power. They don't run for there's very few people that I can think of, probably one or two off the top of my head right now, if that. One for sure. One, I'm not sure on how he where his allegiances really lie. But one person for sure I can think of off the top of my head that he's in the government and he wields his power in a way that is beneficial to the American people. How many officials get into government, how many senators, how many congressmen get into government and they wield the American power for one reason, and that is to enrich themselves, to make themselves fat off the taxpayer dollar, to give the American taxpayer dollars out to other countries for gender programs, when there's American companies, there's American people that are suffering because of the restrictions that the American government has given us and forced upon us during this time of crisis of the COVID pandemic. And so that's what this channel is really all about. I've enjoyed politics. I've followed politics basically my entire adult life, and but I've never actually gone in and tried to be part of that dialogue until now. And that is because I feel that our country is at a turning point. It could it could be for the better or it could be for the worse, depending on what happens. But every voice matters. And the government right now, I do not see is by the people or for the people of America. And it needs to change. It definitely needs to change. Because we have politicians that all they do is get into Congress and they just tear at the foundations of the American dream. And we need to do something about that. Every person needs to stand up and they need to get involved. And that's why I'm doing this.